Let's talk now about the significance of all this with Auckland University Professor of Politics, Stephen Hoadley. Hi there, Stephen. Now, as far as meetings with world leaders go, how important is this one for Jacinda Ardern?
Jacinda Ardern has met virtually every other world leader except Putin up to this point, and this meeting with Xi completes the agenda of New Zealand keeping in touch with the major players on the international stage. Now, I might add that there's been a lot of international media interest in this meeting, not only from Reuters and The Guardian and the BBC, but also a number of media outlets in Australia, in New Zealand, and the Singapore Straits Times, a media in Switzerland, in India, and other places. So obviously, world attention may be, to some extent, on this meeting to see how a small country trying to balance its relations can do with the superpower of China.
And what do you think will be the key points on the agenda?
Obviously, the war in Ukraine is going to be number one. Well, for Jacinda Ardern, it will be trade and good relations with China. We'll come to that in just a moment. But the war in Ukraine and what she will put to the president of China is, look, it's not in your interest to disrupt the supply chains, to spoil the market in Ukraine and in Europe generally, to stimulate inflation through shortages of food and energy, and that it's in China's interest to dampen down this conflict and to have a word with Putin that bring this war to a close, because it's not good for the world economy, it's not good for the poor countries, it's not good for New Zealand, and it's not good for China.
And just quickly on this last one, Stephen, of course, there's a strong trading relationship between New Zealand and China. Will the importance of that relationship constrain what Ardern might be able to discuss?
It has done right through her various meetings and her various talks on China. And New Zealand has been very respectful of China, stressing the positive in, for example, the meeting with the China Business Council just a couple of months ago, stressing the good relationships that have lasted 50 years, but also bringing up some of the awkward issues like human rights, like the South China Sea, like the possibility of the militarization of the Pacific Islands. So Jacinda Ardern's agenda will be balanced, and the Chinese will be well aware that New Zealand does have differences with the way China is conducting its domestic and international affairs.
Auckland University Professor of Politics, Stephen Hoadley, thanks so much.
You're welcome.